captains, how is it going? I hope you are all doing fine amid the corona crisis, and I hope you and your family and friends are not too much affected by it. You may have noticed that I have created a new playlist in YouTube, which I've called Special Flight Operations. Now, those flights will pretty much be full flight videos, apart from the simple fact that now we got a bit of a story to tell around those flights. And so this will be the first flight for this playlist, and this is actually closely linked to the corona crisis, since today we are doing a full flight from Shanghai to Frankfurt in the A330, which Lufthansa now operates to carry only cargo. So that's a specialty about this flight. It's actually a passenger aircraft, as you know, and they put about 30 tons of cargo in it, and also actually in the cabin. I have linked a news article on my Facebook page. I will post the link below this video, where you can see pictures of how the all the cargo, which is mainly medical supplies in this case, is all packed between the seats in the cabin and also the overhead bins. So that's quite interesting, certainly. And also I have two new features in P3D. One of them, which I actually also had back in my latest video, the flight from Dublin to Frankfurt, is PrecipitFX, which is giving away for free these days. So thank you very much to Parallel42 for doing this, and this also shows how great this community actually is. So it's been given away for free with these stay-at-home discounts, or giveaways rather. So we will have nicer contrails and vortices and stuff like this, even now on aircrafts like the A330. The other thing is, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but if you listen very closely, you might hear it. It is ENVSOUND or ENVSOUND, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, which gives us a bit more, normal noise, background noise in the sim. Also some airport noise. From time to time we can hear an aircraft departing, but it's not so often. I believe the sound we are hearing right now is actually from the A321, as it looks like. Yeah, so that's the setup for today. It's quite a route for the A330. It's about 11.5-hour flight, something like that. So I can already tell you we will be at pretty much max takeoff weight. And with that, let's actually head into the cockpit. So here we are. Now today we can use the EFB to actually have a look at the flight plan. I have stored it in the docs. So we should be able to read it. I hope you can see it. I know it's a bit bright, but if I zoom in far enough, then it should work, I hope. Yeah, so that should work. So we're operating Lufthansa 729. They actually use the normal scheduled flight number for this one. On 25th of March, going from Shanghai to Frankfurt in the A330. Now, cost index today will be 38. There will be a little bit of a headwind, 25 knots, not too much though. In terms of zero fuel weight, we are actually not maxed out, 157.6. So I will show you the load sheet in a second. We got, I think, 5 packs on board, just to have a little bit of it, and 30 tons of cargo. Oops. Flight time 11 hours 16 minutes. Alternate will be Düsseldorf. Final reserves of 45 minutes, giving us block fuel of 74.4 tons. So that's quite a lot. And here you can see max takeoff weight, 231.6 tons. Maximum is 233. So we are very heavy today. Now something to point out, since we are flying out of China, we have flight levels depicted in meters instead of feet. So first flight level will be 10,400 meters, which translates into flight level of 34,100 feet. So this will be our first one. I think I will not do those 2 step climbs, since they are sort of, there's no point to it. Then we do the one at Azila to 11,000 meters, which is 2,000 feet higher. And yeah, this is actually flight level 6,100, and then at Cerna, where we enter into the Russian airspace, we actually descend by 100 feet to flight level 360. Yeah, so that will be quite interesting. I hope we can enter it in the flight plan. I'm not sure if that works, but we will certainly try. Okay, and the load sheet, that should be here already. I'm not sure if yeah, there's the cargo. So almost 30 tons, 5 passenger. And yeah, that's our setup for today. And we can actually go over to the FMC and start over here. So we are on ARAC 2003, that's correct, valid until 26th of March. And let's set this one up. Going to Frankfurt. Alternate is Düsseldorf. Flight number Lufthansa, I have to double check. 729er. 38, flight level 34100. Yeah, now we can hear an aircraft departing in the background. That should be ENVSOUND. Yeah, the winds, we can do those. Sweet, we can also finish the init, so that's a very quick setup today since aircraft is loaded already, or boarded rather, and also the pre-flight checklist is already through, so that will be quick. Yeah, 45 minutes on reserves. Minimum destination fuel 5.7. Now it's 9.4, but we haven't done the departure yet. So departure, we will have a quick look at the chart. We are on the Picas 81 Delta arrival out of runway 17 left. So let's see if that's in here. 81 Delta. Sweet. Yeah, so we will climb out heading 168 and then basically do a 90 degrees turn to waypoint PD 302, and there we have a speed constraint as well as an altitude constraint. 5910 3940. That's actually entered correctly. That's perfect. And then some restrictions further on. The next one, we need to be above 8,800 and we will be at flight level 108, so that's fine. We can actually manage, although we are super heavy, but we are high enough. And there we want to be at 167 and we are at 214. That's perfect. Yeah, so everything looking good on here. In terms of takeoff, now we got a pretty crazy trim today of up 4.7. We will be using flap 2 departure. Yeah, 38. A little bit of a cutback here. Speeds of 155, 155 and 161. So quite high speeds, but it's a super long runway, 4,000 meters available. So yeah, that should not be a problem. Fuel on board 8.8 and flight time of exactly 11 hours and 11 minutes. So quite a way to go today, but I'm very much looking forward to that long haul. Sweet. Initial altitude, I think I will actually dial that up to cruise since it's all entered correctly on the MCDU on the flight plan. So we'll put it like that. Hit the B key again to see if altimeters are still correct. They are. Perfect. And with that, we are actually good to go already. Quick look outside for the taxiing. So that will be very quick. We get a pushback with the tail to the left, and then runway 17 left is just over there. So very short taxi, which we are lucky to have since it's quite a big airport. Yeah, so now in the A330, I'm never sure how to handle the flow, but let me ask for a pushback first. Okay, this one is coming in now. Let's see if these stairs are disconnecting. That's perfect. And now the question remains if the doors are closing. Those are closed. And cargo doors are closed. Perfect. That actually works quite well. Checklist is running. Okay.
APU.
Now for the checklist today, I've decided to not go with the co-pilot, at least for most of the time.
Set on.
APU bleed.
This gives us a bit more to do in the cockpit and is not so much automated. Yeah, now we got a couple of seconds until APU is fired up. So yeah, this flight also I should mention that airlines these days, or actually I would start by saying that the air cargo which is transported on a regular basis, so I think about 60% of it is actually carried in passenger aircrafts rather than just cargo aircrafts. So that's why airlines are trying to keep up the flow of goods, and that's why they're actually using these passenger aircrafts to do cargo-only flights now. And I know that Austrian Airlines did similar things. They sent 2 777s to China and also packed it with cargo. And I think Swiss is still going to Hong Kong and also doing cargo-only flights. And yeah, some other airlines as well. It's quite interesting. Of course, it's a very bad situation, the coronavirus. But in terms of flying, it actually gives us the chance to do some somewhat different flights. Okay, APU please.
Set on.
External power.
Is off and disconnected.
Disconnected and off.
Cabin signs.
On and auto.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Parking brake.
On.
Barrel reference.
Checked.
I get a weird tear here in the middle of the display. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Check.
Looks a bit weird,
Beacon
but
lights.
never mind.
Set on.
ATC.
That's over here.
Auto.
Checklist complete.
Sweet. Okay, we are good to go.
Parking brakes released.
Parking brake goes off.
All engines clear. Start at will.
And we will start the block time. Yeah, so the other special flights we can do is passenger flights where they are bringing back tourists back to their home countries. I know that Lufthansa are operating quite a few of those and very interesting routes as well. For example, Bridgetown to Frankfurt in the 747, and ImagineSim has just released yesterday the Barbados scenery, so we will be seeing that very soon in the sim as well. Very excited about that flight. And yeah, a bunch of other flights also. There was now a non-stop flight between Honolulu and Frankfurt operated by the Vamos Air 747, also quite interesting, but unfortunately Honolulu scenery is quite old, I think. So now let's focus on this flight first. Yeah, actually we are not in the same registry as the real world flight was in. I couldn't find it online, but we are in the new colors, and that was most important to me, since I think the new colors are looking terrific on the A330. Especially back there in the blue area, we will see some nice reflections and PBRs later on, hopefully. Okay, looks like engine 2 stabilized.
Starting number 1.
Yeah, so weather today, I haven't talked about that yet, so it looks rather nice here at Shanghai. Only very few clouds around.
Set parking brakes.
Maybe we can have a quick look even. Oops, I was the wrong one, sorry. So winds 150 at 14, that's quite good for a 17 departure. Perfect visibility, temperatures of 17 degrees, so very nice weather. I have also dialed back air traffic density a bit,
Unlocking gear.
since
Engine
I
1
think
is
even in China
stabilized.
now it's still
Parking
a
brakes
bit
are set.
dialed back all the air traffic.
That's a good start on both engines. All systems are normal. Thanks for your help and all clear.
Yeah, now they answer it automatically, that's perfect. Yeah, and also it's visibility very good. I think we can just say that's due to less smog, due to less traffic, but I think in the sim that's just coincidence really. Now I've just remembered I haven't entered the flight levels.
After start checklist.
Azila is the first one we are really
Engine mode
doing.
selector.
Let me finish this one first.
Set.
APU lead.
Set off.
APU master.
Set off.
Ground spoilers.
Left is clear.
Set.
Right is clear.
Rudder trim.
Checked.
Pitch trim.
I think we need to be at 4.7, yeah.
Flaps.
Flaps 2.
Flight controls. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Check. Anti-ice.
Off.
ECAM status.
Checked.
ECAM door page.
Checked.
Hand signal.
Received.
Checklist complete.
Okay, sweet. They still switched the floodlights on, which I don't like. Yeah, quickly to the flight plan. Waypoint Azila. Azila, right? Let's see if we can quickly find it. Otherwise I will handle it during the cruise. There we are, Azila. Now let's see. Wind. Altitude. I'm not sure if that's the right way to enter it in the A330. I need to do slash flight level 361. Okay, and then on the border to Russia, Cerna 360. Cerna. Now all the calculations are going wild here. Okay, now all the fuel on board calculations are going wild. I'm not sure if that's actually the correct way to enter it, but we will anyway manage it throughout the cruise, so it should be fine. Now let's go, and I'm not sure. Yeah, we actually start taxiing a little bit on our own, but we are very heavy, so I will apply a little bit of thrust here. There's some traffic coming in. Oh, it's the SAS A340 actually. Quite nice. In terms of timing, 2 o'clock Zulu now, it's actually 10 o'clock local time in the morning. And then we will get to Frankfurt around 1:30 p.m. So it will be a full daylight flight, which is quite nice. Exterior lights. I'm not sure which they want.
Set on.
Brake check.
Pedal pressed. Checked.
Now let's slow down for the turn.
Auto brakes.
Max.
Takeoff data.
Reviewed.
FCU.
Checked.
Now we might need to hold short there at the runway to give us enough time to finish all the setup.
Flight instruments.
Checked.
Checked. Weather radar. Power supply.
So I will quickly hold here. Set the parking brake. I think that was the weather radar they just called out.
Wind shear.
Checked and set.
TO config.
We can test it that here.
Set.
Checklist
Perfect.
complete.
Alright, and now we can do the before takeoff checklist.
Flight attendants, seats for takeoff. Before takeoff checklist.
Engine mode selector.
Check normal.
TCAS.
TARA, tilt above.
Now I will already look out
Exterior
for
lights.
traffic. The A340 is just crossing the runway, that's fine. I'm never
Exterior
sure how
lights.
they want. Okay,
Sliding tables.
that looks good.
Stowed.
Stowed. Checklist complete.
Alright, now we are good to go. I will release the parking brake. They shouldn't be coming into land on 17 left, only on 17 right, so we should be fine, and also can't see anything up there. So let's go for it. Oops, I've created a bit of a traffic jam back there. There are 3 aircraft waiting behind me, but yeah, never mind. Okay, now there's some traffic coming in on 17 right, hopefully. Oops. Could only see it on the radar briefly. Can't see it in the sky. Okay, runway 17 left is verified. And there's the Austrian 777 actually. So probably not a cargo only flight in the sim here, but in real world that might very well be. Okay, we are all lined up and ready to go, so let's do it.
Takeoff. Man, flex, SRS and runway.
Check.
I think we might need a bit of runway today, but it's a very long runway, so we should be fine.
100 knots.
And then I'm also quite excited about how the trim works, since the first time I actually have to trim above 4.0. And if we were below it, there was a small bug previously.
V1.
rotate. It feels good so far. And we're airborne.
Gear up.
Gears coming up.
Gear up.
Beautiful view, I will take a screenshot. Nice stuff.
Exterior lights. Exterior lights.
Yeah, that's a bad thing about not having the co-pilot.
Exterior lights.
Set.
Gear is up. Lights off.
That's a bit bumpy.
Flaps 1.
I will wait a
Climb
second
thrust.
with the flaps actually.
Flaps 1.
Yeah, okay,
Speed
now
check.
it's fine. Flap
Flaps
1.
on.
We can see the vortices from PrecipitFX. Quite cool actually. And I think I will do the first turn manual flying and then put the autopilot on after that. I quickly want to take another screenshot here that looks pretty cool. The ImagineSim Shanghai scenery. Actually, it's quite an old scenery, but it looks splendid in my opinion. It works perfectly smooth on the frames as well, so very enjoyable scenery.
Flap 0.
Speed
Right,
check.
flip 0.
0.
Check normal.
Spoilers.
Set.
Flat.
Check retracted.
Okay, now we're going into that right hand turn and we want to make sure to not exceed 250 knots.
Landing gear.
Gear up. Lights off.
Exterior lights.
Checked.
Pack.
Both on.
Actually, in these conditions, I'm just noticing we could have done a PAX off departure, but I'm not sure if that works well with the checklists. In the Boeing, I would definitely do it in this situation since we are super heavy and no PAX on board. Okay, I will quickly finish the turn and then pop the autopilot on.
TCAS.
Autopilot on. Set.
Okay, and now we actually have to level out for just a little bit, but that's fine, just for about 3 nautical miles.
Barrow reference set and cross-checked. 1016.
1016. Check. Checklist complete.
Okay, checklist completed. Now out to the right hand window we should see the airport, and now we're doing the next right hand turn. Pretty cool so far. Yeah, now we also continue our climb. And now it should be open climb. Now we just got restrictions where we have to be above certain levels, so that should be fine. Sweet, perfect. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this very nice departure out of Shanghai so far. I will now, since we are all set already in the cockpit, go straight into music and view mode, and then I will see you in about 11 hours from now. So yeah, hope to see you back then. Hello viewers, welcome back to the flight deck. We are now just over 11 hours into the flight. So quite a long flight for the A330 actually. The cruise has been very smooth and not too interesting actually. It was full daytime cruise and yeah, you know, over Russia there's not too much to see. Yeah, now we have just flown past Frankfurt airport. For some reason my ground textures are not loading correctly. There are some very few areas where it was sharp and then there's this, so I have no idea what's causing this. Sorry about this, I don't know the issue here. And also, you kind of know the deal already, I'm once again struggling to slow this aircraft down and to make it descend properly. So that's why I've extended some speed brakes here. And I want to be at 8,000 at this waypoint over here, and I think we should make it now. But I've been using speed brakes for quite a way. Yeah, but I hope we'll be fine. Yeah, so we are today on the Carax to Romeo arrival, which just took us along the airport on the northern side, and now we are doing a left-hand turn to waypoint Delta Foxtrot 951, where we want to be at 8,000 or above, and then E plus 5,000, and then we will be on ILS landing runway 07 right, so ROPSA will be the first waypoint of the final approach. Okay, now let me put the auto brakes to low, and we are too fast actually. But I think I can now go back to managed in order to make the aircraft slow down a bit. Yeah, that looks pretty weird. I'm not sure what's... It has been fine back in China as far as I remember. Yeah, but anyhow, the airport should be good, so it should be fine. Now let's get rid of the speed brakes. We're at 9,000 now, so should be fine actually. Yeah, in terms of weather, that's it was quite interesting. Let's see how it's now. So we got winds from 040 at 16, so quite a bit. And also back here, temporarily, we might get winds gusting to 25 knots even. So it might be a bit windy on the final. We will see that. That's why on the for the landing, so we're on a flap full landing, and I've added 10 knots. Actually, I have not. It's 9. Should be 142 actually. So I've added 10 knots on final approach speed. I think auto brake low should still be fine. Now let's go back to 5,000 since this is the next constraint. Yeah, low should be fine. We got a long runway available. Also, we will be actually after landing taxi to the cargo apron of Frankfurt, and that's also where the real red flight parked, since it is a cargo flight. Yeah, now I think at least for the approach we are looking quite good now, apart from the ground textures. Okay, that's why we are a bit of... I haven't dialed it in like fix 8,000, but above 8,000, so that's most likely the reason here. But next one we should definitely be at 5,000. Yeah, and I still got the co-pilot off. Where can we see it? Yeah, co-pilot is still off. I'm just thinking about switching it on maybe after we are fully configured for landing. Since for the cleanup, I really don't want to do it all on my own. I want to focus on the taxi instead. Yeah, so here can you see, like there's a bit of a difference here. This is still not sharp, but it's a bit better than over there, and I have no idea what's going on here with the sim. Ah, now it's loaded in a bit more. Maybe it's just super slow in terms of loading in right now. I don't know. Okay. Okay, there's some traffic coming in from straight ahead, but we should be on the final first. And then there are some other aircraft down on the final, but that's way in front of us, so we should be fine actually. Let's go back to 4000s. And still the aircraft is not making it like on spot, like we should be definitely lower here. That's not quite perfect, but I think it will work for today. I mean, we are below the glide slope, that's the most important thing.
Approach checklist.
Yeah, I feel like now the textures are getting better.
Ecam status.
Checked.
Sliding tables.
Stowed.
Stowed. Cabin signs.
Checked.
1000. Nav accuracy.
Okay, also we overshot a little bit here, but that seems to be planned on the flight plan.
Barrel reference.
Standard.
Exterior lights.
Oh, I totally forgot the landing lights actually.
Exterior lights.
Set on.
Checklist complete.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're used to the co-pilot and now you don't have it.
Altitude.
This one and this one. Now we are set. Now we'll arm the localizer. Oops. Now it's getting a bit shaky. That's probably the gusting we have been talking about.
Set barrel reference, Captain.
Oh, that's weird. Why can I not? 1025. Five to 8. But we should be set actually.
Set barrel reference, Captain.
What do you mean by setting barrel reference? Okay, I will go approach mode now. Glide slope is captured. Do I need to set it apart from here?
Set barrel reference, Captain.
Ah, maybe because this is out of line.
Barrow reference set and cross-check.
Okay, now here we go.
102.
Now we're still a bit fast. I don't like that too much.
Flight attendants, prepare for landing.
2,500.
Localizer captured.
We're getting a bit of calls. And now we can go flap 1.
Speed check.
Enjoying the shitty terrain textures. And still the auto throttle is going crazy once again. We really need to slow down now. Okay, dropping the gear.
Down.
Yeah, sorry, that's a bit of a messy approach. Somehow it happens quite often with the A330. Flaps 2.
Flaps 2. Flaps 2.
Speed check. Flaps
Oops.
4. Speed check. Flaps 3.
Autopilot off.
Spoilers.
1000.
Landing
Armed.
checklist.
Okay, now here we go. Yeah, that was not too smooth
Down
actually.
and locked.
Didn't like it
3
too much.
greens.
Ground spoiler.
Traffic.
Checked
Traffic.
and
But
armed.
it worked out. That's just the aircraft
On brakes.
departing 07 center. That's fine.
Low.
Exterior lights.
Approaching.
On.
0, 7, right.
Go around altitude. 2000. Exterior lights.
500.
Exterior lights.
Set.
Go around altitude.
400.
Landing memo.
Checked. No blue.
Checklist complete.
Oh, that's really shaky here.
300. 100 above. 200. Minimum
Lights will
100.
continue.
Continue. Oh, those are quite some turbulences here.
40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
Yeah, we are floating a bit there, but we met down the center line. Idle forward, manual braking. Okay, sweet. So now we've made it. I'm sorry that was not the smoothest landing, or not the smoothest approach, rather. I don't know why, but somehow these flows of the A330 sometimes give me a heartache. Okay, now let's get this co-pilot back online. Okay, now we are on mic 13. That's perfect. That's actually the exit I wanted to have. Now the gate will be, I have to double check, Foxtrot 213. Sweet, handling by Lufthansa Cargo, perfect.
Set off.
Engine mode selector.
Check normal.
Flat.
Okay, now let's check this time if there's any traffic. Not on the runway yet, so we should be fine actually.
TCAS.
Center.
Set.
Brake temperature.
Checked.
Now we are on, this should be Lima 9, and then we are going down
Set.
Lima. Yeah, this guy is taxiing down this way, so yeah, we will go down Lima, that's
Weather
perfect.
radar. Power supply. Wind shear.
Both off.
Checklist complete.
Quite a bit of traffic here, although aircraft or AI density rather is set rather low. Okay, and now we are looking for November 10. Now here's November 7. Actually, since there's a bit of traffic jam up ahead, I will go right here. That should be November 8. Lose some traffic on the ground. Never mind. Can get rid of the terrain. Yeah, and the cargo apron is down there on the left hand side, so we will go left here. At least I'm getting better at taxiing this thing. Initially I was pretty crappy at it, but I feel like now it's quite alright. Yeah, but the thing about the textures on the ground really bother me, since I haven't had that issue before. It's the first time actually, so I have yet no idea what to do about it. But then again, the sim wouldn't be the sim if it would run smooth all the time. I'm sure you guys know the struggles. Yeah, so now our parking should be over there, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, the cargo apron is a bit empty. Yeah, so it will be next one to the right. That should be November 13, and then it's the first parking on the left. Yeah, so it's this one over there. Some traffic again. Now we have the GSX config file installed, but I'm not sure if it works on these cargo rams. Okay, this final turn was not so great actually. But we will give it a try, so let's see what the marshaller tells us. All right. Let's set the parking brake. And let's have a look at the load sheet.
And the parking checklist.
So fuel use 64.7 tons, so quite a lot of fuel. And flight time of 11:12 and total clock time 11:27.
Parking brakes released.
Sweet, quite a long flight in the A330.
Both off.
Cabin signs.
Checked.
Now let's ask for regular
Exterior
deboarding.
lights.
Set off.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Okay, now here we are, nice view as the A340 takes off in the background. So yeah, here we are in Frankfurt. We have operated our first special operations flight. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Once again, I'm sorry about the weird ground textures during arrival. I haven't had that before really, and I need to figure out what's going on there. Nevertheless, I hope to see you soon again. Next flight will hopefully be the 747 flight from Bridgetown to Frankfurt. Let's hope this will be a good one, and hope to see you next time, and take care.